Alright y'all, so let's go ahead and talk about it because I know a lot of y'all that clicked on this video may already have your mixed opinions, but give me a moment, just give me a couple minutes to explain my whole point on why personally I think at this point within the JJK story there are things that are getting repetitive. Now, talking about the whole entire JJK story, I am not talking about that. I am talking about very recent stuff, specifically within the past 5 months. Now, we're gonna lay some groundwork. As you know, I am a die-hard Gojo fan, but this does not mean any way, shape, or form I hate Sukuna. I like what Sukuna doing right now. He over here going ham and he putting in that work. So don't think that this is a Sukuna slander because it's really not. So after Sukuna defeated Gojo in what I think is chapter 236, we have been going through what I've personally called the Sukuna cycle. So ever since Mr. Akutami has implemented the Sukuna cycle, everything has been getting very, very repetitive, even since the recent fight between Kusakabe and Sukuna. Because after we all know Kusakabe gets defeated, we have another character that I had no clue was going to pull up, and that is Miguel. Now, I'm going to explain to you what the Sukuna cycle is, because as it seems with the chapter that's going to drop this week, it seems like the Sukuna cycle is just going to keep on repeating itself. Now, after we had Gojo getting defeated, the hype behind Sukuna was still strong because we had his next opponent, which was Kashimo. Now, this laid the groundwork for what I call the Sukuna cycle. We have a character who's about to fight Sukuna, and they get hyped up a lot. Now, this character may push Sukuna a little bit, but not too much, as we had Kashimo who pushed Sukuna to using Yorozu's gift. And we may have moments within this fight where Sukuna may even compliment whoever he's fighting, but Sukuna comes out victorious. Now, this is where the cycle repeats. After every single one of Sukuna's W's, there's always one more person that comes into the fight just for the cycle to be repeated again. We have that character being hyped up, everybody's excited for that character to join the battle, they do a little bit of talking against Sukuna, Sukuna may even compliment them, but at the end of the day, Sukuna will defeat them, and then we have yet another person stepping in. So I guess one of my main problems with this is because I just see this cycle between Sukuna and going up against these other sorcerers. I find it kind of pointless, especially if they're just going to fight in a 1v1. Now, we had a couple 2v1s and those still didn't work out. So a lot of these one-on-one fights, I really don't see the purpose in us being so hyped for these fights and the purpose of these fights happening in general. So we have an arguably weaker level Sukuna that went against Gojo, and the power levels with Gojo and Sukuna compared to everybody else in the verse is gaps. I mean, there's gaps between Sukuna and Gojo and the rest of the verse. So if Gojo fought an arguably weaker Sukuna, and now we have the stronger version of Sukuna, Heian era Sukuna, there's no reason that we should think that anybody is going to beat Sukuna in a one-on-one if Gojo, the second strongest person in this verse, and the distance between the third strongest is very far. I guess from my perspective, I really don't see the purpose of us having to just repeat the same process of Sukuna just fighting one person when we obviously know Sukuna's going to win. We had Kashimo, who was the strongest sorcerer of his time, that went against Sukuna. He got defeated. After Kashimo was defeated, we had Yuji and Higuruma join the battle with a lot of emphasis, making it seem like they're about to get the win. We then have Kusakabe, we have Takuma, and we have Choso even joining the fight to help them out, and in all actuality, they all end up getting worked. When all hope was lost, we then had Yuta who joined the battle. Then we get a little 2v1 action between Yuta, Yuji versus Sukuna. And like always, do you see the repetition? We have people that start off fighting Sukuna, they get hyped up, they get hits landed on Sukuna, but in all actuality, they still end up not being able to defeat Sukuna. But I will say, I will give it to Yuji and Yuta because out of all people other than Gojo, I'm pretty sure they put up the best fight against Sukuna. You could put a close thing on Maki, but at the same time, I think they put up the best fight against Sukuna. So talking about Maki, as Yuji and Yuta get defeated by Sukuna, we have Maki stepping into the fight. Now the cycle is in full effect right now. In this fight with Maki and Sukuna, we have Maki getting hyped up, but at the same time, we know Sukuna staying cool, calm, and collected, telling her he's having no trouble at all. Even though Maki was hyped up, landed some good hits on Sukuna, inevitably, as the Sukuna cycle goes, Sukuna defeats Maki. Then we have Kusakabe stepping in again against Sukuna, saying, "Am I going to fight Sukuna?" Now, just like last time, we have Kusakabe getting hyped up, but we all know what happened to him and he was defeated. And finally, that takes us up to current events, with Miguel being revealed to be Sukuna's next opponent. Now, I'm pretty sure the editor's comment said that Miguel was standing toe to toe with Gojo, but at the same time, this is the Sukuna cycle in full effect. We're hyping up Miguel to make it seem like he's going to be some type of amazing match for Sukuna, when we know in all actuality there is nobody. If Gojo couldn't beat Sukuna in a 1v1, there is nobody in the verse that is beating Sukuna in a 1v1. So honestly, I'm not disregarding that these fights haven't been absolutely fire. I am not saying that these fights haven't been amazing. Mr. Akutami has been putting in his work. Just honestly, I feel like this is getting very repetitive. If we're going to continue to have these one-on-one fights, we're just going to keep on hyping up these characters just for them inevitably to get defeated by Sukuna. Now, I do also understand that this is a final fight, and when you have your final villain, he's going to be running through people like crazy. And maybe this is Mr. Akutami's way of not going with the usual villain route of the main villain just fighting everybody all at once. But at the same time, I do think if we want to defeat Sukuna, everybody is going to have to jump him at once. I do not know why they keep on trying to fight this man one-on-one, because they're just going to get defeated. And at this point with Miguel coming, I just feel like Mr. Akutami really almost has nobody else left to fight Sukuna. And as fun as it is seeing Sukuna fight, I really just don't feel like watching these two fight, because we know how this fight is going to end. And I just feel like the Sukuna cycle that has been going on for the past 5 months, yes, it's been one hell of a ride, but at the same time, there's just a point where you just can't take anymore and it's just getting boring. So y'all let me know if y'all agree with me. Am I stretching it too far? Am I putting too much emphasis on the story being boring? Am I not just enjoying the story? But again, this is just my opinion. This is what I feel in the story, which is probably another reason why I haven't really been making that much JJK content, because literally it's just been repetitive over and over again, and I've just been getting kind of bored of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and until next time, peace out.